Hey, welcome everybody. Come on in. Got a little bit of a late start. We got stuck in a traffic jam on the way over here. So hopefully you guys did not. Welcome guys, we're going to get our meeting started in just a few minutes. Welcome to the first meeting of the year from the Texas REIAs. Texas REIAs is the largest network of real estate investor associations in Texas. Going back since 2003, over 150,000 members, participants, and attendees. And we are Texans, teaching Texans how to invest in Texas, networking, money, resources, 257 vendors, basically everything you need to invest in real estate here in Texas. If you have the slightest interest in real estate, the very first thing to do is to go join your local real estate investor association. My job today is to make you all into educated and participating members of this community. So we're going to get started very shortly. We have people coming in, trickling in still. But while we're getting, I guess, warmed up, I'm going to walk around the room, say good morning, good evening. Marcus, what brings you out today? What are you looking to do?
So I'm just trying to get out of my 9 to 5.
Get out of your 9 to 5, okay. And thinking maybe real estate is it?
I think so.
Okay.
I've had a heart for it for a while.
Have you done anything with real estate yet?
No.
Okay. About 75% of the people that come to the REIA are just getting started, haven't done anything yet. And I love real estate investing, been doing it for myself over 20 years. There's a lot of ways to invest in real estate. And we're not here to try to tell you any one of those ways is better or worse than any others, because we do them all within this community. We do residential, we do commercial, we do active, we do passive. We do every type of strategy and every type of asset. So we love them all. What would you say is the problem you're trying to solve? You want to replace your income? Is that your primary goal?
Yes, that. Generational.
Generational wealth? Okay, well, that's good too. You know, of all the things that I would say you could do to get started, flipping houses is probably the fastest thing. If somebody comes to me and they just say, I want to replace my income, I want to make $100,000 in the next 12 months doing something not what I'm doing now, I'm going to say flip houses. There's many ways to do it. You can do it with money, you can do it with other people's money, you can do it with no money. Regardless of if you have money or not, you don't have enough anyway. Nobody does. Elon Musk does not have enough money. You got to get used to and comfortable using other people's money, because it's the only way the business scales. Like if you get into this business, you got $500,000 in your checking account, it's like, great, good for you. Go buy a house, right? Okay, now you're done. Yep. Can't buy another house because all your money's in the first house. So you've got to set this business up so you can buy any property at any time at any price, because you have no idea. The deal of a lifetime, the life-changing deal of a lifetime, it could just show up tomorrow, right? And you got to be ready for it. So you have to get comfortable using other people's money. Good news, there's literally 100,000 other members in this network, including a lot of private money lenders and hard money lenders, and they will loan you money or partner with you on deals, and you can leverage other people's money. That's one of the things you have to learn how to do. And then there's also many ways to do this with no money. You know, and if you learn how to buy and sell houses with no money, then how many houses can you buy? And the answer is all of them. So that's another good skill to learn. So hey everybody, we're just getting warmed up. We're going to start our meeting in just a couple of minutes. I'm just walking around and saying hello to people. Terrace, what brings you out today? Therese, what brings you out today?
Yes, I'm new to real estate.
New?
I'm going to learn about it and create some additional sources of income.
Okay. And is that your primary goal? Do you want to quit your job and maybe do real estate instead?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good thing to do. Well, kind of the same advice we had before. You know, flipping houses, we're going to talk about flipping houses. We do residential, we do commercial, we do active, we do passive. We love them all. They're all great. I'm going to say flipping houses is probably the fastest thing you can do to replace an income. And have you done anything yet? Have you studied yet? Okay, great. You know, it's the new year, and this is the first meeting of the Texas REIAs for 2025. And we always have a lot of new people that come out for the new meetings because, you know, one of the most common New Year's resolutions is I want to do something different, I want to make more money. And then people look at all the things they can do to make money. And it turns out almost 75% of the millionaires got there all or in part through investing in real estate, which in my mind translates to say it's really hard to become a millionaire not investing in real estate. So then they get interested in real estate. And they say if you have the slightest interest in real estate, the first thing to do is to go seek out your local real estate investor association. And this is the Texas REIA. It's the largest by far network of real estate investor associations in Texas. So we get a lot of people at the beginning of the year that are exactly in your situation where you're looking to maybe learn some new skills, get into something new, and do something new. So I think we've got a quorum here. I think we're going to go ahead and start. I know we're going to have a lot of more people joining us, but let me go ahead and get our meeting started. So welcome everybody to the Texas REIAs. And I'm Phil Grove. I'm going to be doing your main presentation tonight. The Texas REIAs is the largest network of real estate investor associations in the great state of Texas. Over 100,000 members, participants, and attendees, going all the way back to 2003, with chapters in Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. So then why do you care and why does that matter? Well, the reason you might care is because real estate is local. Laws are local, contracts are local, contractors are local, buyers and sellers are local, houses are local, laws, rules, contracts, vendors, everything about real estate is local. There's 30,000 YouTube videos that talk about how to invest in real estate. And they all talk about how to do it anywhere. Well, how to do it anywhere is how to do it at 30,000 feet. But real estate is not bought and sold at 30,000 feet. Real estate is bought and sold at 0 feet. So if you want to know what laws apply here and which contracts to use here and which neighborhoods to invest in here and which strategies work best here, right, and where to get the money here, where do you get all that? And the answer is you get that at your local real estate investor association. And my job today is to get you all educated and communicating and participatory within the confines of this network. So welcome everybody. We are live, obviously. We're also simulcasting online. So we are online. Hello everybody online. If you are watching us on Zoom, then you are live. I'm sorry, if you're on GoToWebinar, you are live. If on the other hand, you are on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitch, you may or may not be live, but if you'd like to join us at a live event, just come to flipping.com/event, because flipping.com is one of the sponsors of the Texas REIAs, and we have events literally every single week. In fact, we have multiple events literally every single week, residential, commercial, everything you ever wanted to know about investing in real estate. So let me start this year by answering a question that a lot of people ask at the beginning of a year: how to get started. You know, when people start a new year, one of the most common things that happens is people have, you know, the same New Year's resolutions. Everybody wants to lose weight and make more money, right? And if they're not married, maybe there's love involved in there too. But I can't help you find a date or lose weight, but I can definitely talk about how to make money. And there's a lot of ways you can do that with real estate. I mentioned before, almost 80% of the millionaires got there all in part through investing in real estate, which in my brain translates to mean it's actually really difficult to become a millionaire not investing in real estate. So how do you do it? Well, there's a lot of ways you can do it, and we love them all. So I'm not here to promote a certain agenda or idea or philosophy or investing strategy, because we're very strategically agnostic. We have people in this vast network that do residential, do commercial, do active, do passive, use every strategy, every asset class. We love them all. If it's illegal and it makes money, you know, we're in. But people often ask when they're getting started, kind of where's the best place to start? Like residential, commercial, active, passive. What's the best place to start? Well, I would say it depends on why you're here, because you're all here for your own unique and different reasons. If you're here because you say, you know what I want to do? I want to quit my job. I want to replace my income. I want to do something over the next 12 months that replaces my income, makes me not have to rely on somebody else to make money. I want to make an extra $100,000 over the next 12 months or more. Then if that's why you're here, I'm going to say, great, you should be flipping houses. There's a lot of ways to do it. Anybody can do it. You don't need any money to do it. Or if you do need money, you can use other people's money. We have 257 vendors that support this organization. We have over 1,000 private money lenders. Private money is faster, cheaper, better. than hard money, any other kind of money. You got private money, you got a competitive advantage. So there's plenty of ways to do this, whether you have money or not. And something I always like to tell people, because it's a very common misconception. People are like, I need money to be a real estate investor. No, you don't. In fact, even if you have money, it's not going to help that much anyway. Because you don't have enough. I don't have enough. Elon Musk does not have enough. You got $500,000 in your checking account? Great, good for you. Go buy a house. Okay, now you're done. Yep, that was it. Can't buy another house until you sell that house, because all your money's tied up in the first house. No, you have to be prepared to buy any property at any time at any price. The deal that could change your life could show up on your plate tomorrow. You have to be ready whenever it shows up. And it's not going to show up when you're ready. It's going to show up when it shows up. So you have to get comfortable using other people's money. And that's what a network is all about. You have to be comfortable and educated in how to do it with no money. We're going to learn how to do that as well. So if you want to just quit your job, replace your income, I'm going to say, great, flip houses. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different ways to do this. But if you say, but that's not why I'm here, what I'm really looking to do is to build wealth. I want to retire wealthy. Okay, I want to be much wealthier. Okay, when I retire. That's why you're here. I'm going to say, okay, great. You should be buying rental properties. Buying rental properties. I have been buying rental properties for 20 plus years, 21 years here in Texas. And let's do a quick poll of the audience. Do a little audience interaction here. What do you guys think of real estate right now? Who thinks real estate? Let's do a poll of the audience. Who thinks real estate's expensive? Who thinks real estate's cheap? Now, by the way, it's a yes or no. There's just two options, so I expect everybody to vote. There's no wrong answer. So I'd like to get 100% participation in this quick poll. Who thinks houses are kind of expensive right now? Who thinks houses are kind of expensive right now? Who thinks houses are kind of cheap right now? Who thinks houses are kind of cheap right now? Okay, we got a lot of expensives and a couple of cheaps. Okay, my opinion, it's just an opinion, my opinion is houses are freaking dirt cheap. I was astounded. I was looking at the MLS the other day at house prices, and I'm like, oh my God, they're practically giving them away. I almost fell off my chair. Absolutely astounded at how cheap the houses are. That's my opinion. I've been doing this for 21 years. I look at the market, I'm like, I can't believe how cheap these houses. But you know what? Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I want you to ask somebody that you trust. In fact, I want you to ask the person that you trust more than any other person in the world, right? Somebody who's wise and somebody who has experience, somebody you personally trust more than anybody else in the world. I want you to ask them, what do you think of home prices, right here in 2025, right, in Dallas, Texas. So who should you ask? Here's who I want you to ask. I want you to ask future you. Okay, go 20 years into the future. I say, what do you think of house prices, right, in 2025 in Dallas, Texas? You know what future you is going to tell you? I guarantee what they're going to say is, oh my God, do you realize you could have bought houses in Dallas for less than $3 million a piece? You should have bought them all. What were you thinking? So I've been doing this for 21 years. And I got to tell you, every year it's the same thing. Everybody thinks houses are expensive. So when I got started investing in real estate 21 years ago, houses were crazy expensive. They were crazy expensive. I bought a bunch of houses in Austin, Texas, mostly in downtown, and I paid ridiculous prices for those houses. Some of those houses I paid $120,000 for, some $150,000. I think I paid like $175,000 for one of those houses. I know, it's crazy, right? Ridiculous prices. Right now I'm selling those houses for $850,000, $1.2 million, $780,000. Yeah. No matter what you think prices are right now, you compare them to what they were 20 years ago. And I guarantee 20 years from now, when you look at the prices today, it's going to exactly be the exact same delta. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and that's perspective going for 20 years. Everybody always thinks the real estate market is hot. You can't guess the market. Dollar cost average rental properties, just buy them and keep them. I buy rental properties. I take the key. I hand it to a property manager. I say, I'll see you in 20 years. Take good care of the house. Call me if anything major happens, but it better be really major because I really don't want to deal with it other than that, right? Now I own $30 million worth of houses. Smartest thing I did was I bought a bunch of expensive houses 21 years ago. So if your goal is to build wealth, then I'm going to say, great, you should buy rental properties. Now, by the way, one little more tip on that. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? That would be now. Today, you're planting trees that you will be harvesting 20 years from now. And if you only remember one thing from this meeting and you come out of here and you just buy one house and you hand over the keys to a property manager and say, see you in 20 years, you'll thank me in 20 years. Thank you, your retirement's covered, so you're good. Now, if you say, but that's still not why I'm here, Phil. That's not why I'm here. I already have money, and what I'm looking to do is I want to make money with my money. I want to make money with my money. Well, if that's why you're here, I'm going to say, great, you should be investing in commercial syndications. Commercial syndications are where you put money into a deal, typically like $50,000, could be your money, could be your IRA money, could be stocks that you get out of the stock market and put into commercial real estate. You put 50 and you get 100 back. You know, commercial real estate is private equity. Wealthy people do not invest in the stock market. I'm sorry. Wealthy people invest in private equity. You got to be a little smarter to do that. You got to know stuff. But once you know stuff, why do wealthy people invest in private equity instead of public equity, the stock market? Because on average, right, commercial real estate is twice the return of the stock market with half the risk. So if you knew there was something that you could do other than the stock market that gave you twice the return with half the risk, you'd never go back to the stock market. And I'm going to tell you, once you learn about commercial real estate, you will never go back to the stock market. But it's not as simple. Any idiot can invest in the stock market. Ooh, Apple computer, sounds good, buy some of that, right? It's public. Everybody knows about it, everybody can do it. It's very simple. The best stuff is not the easy stuff, right? Commercial real estate, you got to know things, you got to know people, right? It's kind of going behind the curtains and meeting the people with the deals. That's called private equity, right? And typically it's twice the return, half the risk. But if you say, that's still not why I'm here. What I'm looking to do is I want to make the big deals. I don't want to make $100,000 a year, a couple $100,000 a year. I want to make millions of dollars a year. If you're here because you want to start making millions of dollars a year, I'm going to say, great, you should be sponsoring commercial syndications, right? If you do a commercial deal, a typical deal, one deal will typically make you $1, $2, $5 million per deal if you're the sponsor of the deal. And you're using other people's money. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, it is big money for sure, but it's not fast money. Typically, a commercial syndication takes 5 years. So yeah, you can make $1 million or $5 million or $2 million, but it's going to take 5 years. Right? If you start doing it now, right, after 5 years, you're making millions of dollars a year. So those are all the things you can do, and they're all great. You know, it just depends on why you're here, right? Which one is the right one for you? Most people start by flipping houses. And then I'm going to say, when you're flipping houses and acquiring the ability to learn how to buy off-market wholesale properties, you're going to keep the best ones, and you should keep the best ones. My biggest regret, 20 years, is I didn't keep more. I should have kept more. So you're going to keep the best ones as rental properties. And then once you have more money than you need to just pay your bills, you're going to want to make money with your money. So you're going to want to invest your extra money in commercial syndications, because if you knew there was something that you could do that was twice the return, half the risk of the stock market, you'd do that. And then when you invest in commercial syndications, the coolest thing about that is you learn how it works. You get paid to learn how it works. You meet a sponsor, you see a deal, you get a copy of a business plan, you follow along, and you get paid, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I want to be that guy, right? And then you become that guy, and you sponsor commercial syndications. So they're all great. They're all great. You know, which one is right for you? Well, that just really depends on you. Flipping.com and Texas REIAs offers training and money and resources and power teams and vendors and support for all of these different things. So they're all good, and I'm not here to try to convince you any one is particularly better than any of the others. Let's do, though, a quick poll of the audience, just out of curiosity. How many of you are here, you'd say, mostly because you want to maybe replace your income or generate an extra $100,000 in the next 12 months? Who would say you're mostly in that category? Okay, great. How many of you are here mostly because you're looking to build some generational wealth? Not so much income, but more generational wealth. Okay, great. How many of you are here because you want to be passive investors? You got some money, 401k, IRA, or regular money, and you want to make more money with your money. Who just wants to make more money with their money? Okay, great. How many of you are here to do the big deals, the commercial deals? Who's ready to do the big commercial deals? Okay, great. They're all wonderful. Most of you answered A or B, as I kind of suspected, and that's fine. But we love them all, we do them all, we teach them all, we have vendors and support and investment opportunities and everything else. I will say the commercial thing specifically, we're going to start by talking about the residential ones, but if you're specifically interested in commercial, you might take a little snapshot of this QR code. This will send this. If you snap that with your phone, it sends a text from your phone, and then you'll get a text back. You don't even have to enter your name or anything. It just sends a text from your phone, then you get a text back with a link for some free training. So if you're looking for some free training in the commercial space, we have all kinds of free training in the commercial space, and that's how you get plugged in. We use these little QR codes to connect people with resources within this network. So most of you, though, answered, when I go back to the chart, you were mostly in box A or B, and that's fine. So let's get started and talk about what can you do to make more money, build wealth in those quadrants. Well, here's the good news. There's a lot of ways that we can help you, and you can make money. Real estate can help you. In fact, we're going to go through about a dozen different strategies that you can use. 11 of these strategies are all for generating income. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different ways to make money, generate income, and then we're going to talk about which ones to hold on to build wealth. So welcome again to the REIA. I'm Phil Grove. I became a real estate investor on December 15, 2003, just celebrated my 21st year as an investor. It took me 6 months to do my first deal. It took me 5 days to do my second deal. Within a few years, I was involved in hundreds of deals. Now I've negotiated over 1,200 deals. I own about $30 million in rental properties. That was the smartest thing I did. I bought rental properties. They went up and up and up and up, and the tenants paid off the mortgages, which was really cool. Made a lot of money along the way. That's a nice byproduct. If you flip a lot of houses, you're going to make a lot of money. And I've actually taught over 100,000 people. I've probably taught more Texans how to invest in Texas. This is the largest network of real estate investor associations. I'm a common speaker in this network. And through speaking through this network, I've literally taught over 100,000 people. I don't know if there's anybody else that's taught over 100,000 Texans how to invest in Texas, but I've done that. And I enjoy talking about this stuff and teaching people and bringing them behind the curtains and connecting people that are with other people that are doing stuff that are relevant. These are some of the properties that made me some money. I don't have time to go through them all, but there's a lot of them. In fact, I do up to a real estate transaction a week in some shape, form, variety, or another, and that creates what we call money in big chunks. Now that sounds cool, right? Money in big chunks. I'm not here, though, to sound cool. I'm here to teach you. So let me teach you a couple things. How does this business work? The way this business fundamentally works is as follows. We do things to find people with problems. And here's the really good part. For every problem that exists, we have a solution, right, that helps them, solves their problem, gets us paid. So that's what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs help the world add value by solving the world's problems. We're real estate entrepreneurs. So if you're thinking like, I don't want any problems, you're thinking, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't care what kind of entrepreneur you want to be. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, go solve problems. You solve big, complicated problems, the world will reward you in big ways. So we solve real estate problems. I'll give you some examples. I found somebody facing foreclosure, big problem, and I gave them an alternative, something called a short sale that allowed them to sell their house without having to destroy their credit, destroy their lives. And I made $16,000 helping somebody solve a problem. REO, a bank had a problem, real estate owned, bank owned property. Banks don't want to own real estate. So I took it off the bank's hands and I flipped it, made $36,000. Got a guy with a legal problem, had to sell a house by Friday. A realtor cannot sell your house by Friday. I can. I flipped it, made a wholesale fee of $5,000. Got a property subject to, no money, no credit, that's cool. Flipped it, made $68,000, $5,600 on an assignment. $6,000 made on a little mortgage assignment deal, $10,000 on wholesale, $2,800 on a small referral, $12,400 for a larger referral. So the way this business fundamentally works is as follows. We do things to find people with problems, And for every problem there is, here's the good news, we have a solution, a strategy that helps people, is about helping people, solves their problem, need, gets us paid. Sometimes we get singles, sometimes we get doubles, sometimes we get home runs. Sometimes I work on a lead deal opportunity, a problem, for 6 months, and after 6 months I make $5,000. And I'm like, oh man, 6 months, $5,000. I could have made more money working at Walmart. Thank goodness I'm not working on just one lead at a time. Sometimes my phone rings and my phone call makes me $55,000 in 48 hours. And I'm like, oh man, I wish every time my phone rang I made $55,000 in 48 hours. But that's not how this business works either. That's maybe 1 in 100 phone calls. So the question to ask is, how often do you get 100 phone calls? Well, that depends on you and how much marketing that you do, how much looking that you do. Do you look at 100 deals a week, 100 deals a month, or 100 deals a year? Well, that depends on you, right, and how much marketing you do or how much looking that you do. So there's 2 essential skills we're going to teach you to be a real estate investor. The first and foremost skill is marketing. Marketing is finding the deals. So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different ways to find off-market deals, because that's what we buy, off-market deals. The second skill we're going to learn is strategy. Strategy is doing the deal, solving the problem. We buy houses, we help people sell houses, get rid of houses and mortgages they don't want, can't afford. We do it in a variety of different ways. It solves a variety of different problems. So those are the 2 skills, marketing and strategy, finding deals, doing deals, finding problems, and solving problems. So we use 65 different methods. I'm going to show you 65 methods to find off-market, because that's what we buy, off-market wholesale properties. We're going to teach you a dozen different strategies to help you buy houses and own houses even with little or no money. And by the way, of those 65 marketing methods, half of them are completely free. And of those 12 investing strategies, 9 of those strategies are actually no money needed, no credit needed strategies. And once you learn how to buy real estate with no money and no credit, how many properties can you buy? All of them. How many would you like to buy? All of them. Okay, if I throw out a question and you just kind of shout back all of them, you're probably going to get it right, just so you know. All right, so marketing strategy, finding deals, doing deals, finding problems, solving problems. Let us get started with how to find the deals, marketing. Oh, actually, first I'm going to tell you a quick story. This was the very first house I flipped. Bought this house and flipped it on December 15, 2003. Bought it for $80,000. Man, wish I kept it. Well, I still made money on it. But at any rate, but I'll tell you a little story. On December 14th, 2003, the day before I did this deal, I was scared to death. I was actually being coached and mentored by the 2 guys who ran the REIA back then. I called them both on the phone. Are you sure this is going to work? I don't want to lose any money. Yeah, it took 2 seasoned, experienced real estate investors pulling me, kicking and screaming over the starting blocks to get me to do that very first deal. So if you're scared, I get it, I can relate, and I can help. But I had one other thing motivating me to take action way back then. I was in a job I no longer loved, and I was in a career that I no longer loved. And I'm going to tell you, if you're spending your time doing something you don't love doing, you need to do something different with your life plan. Because you get one life, and it just rolls by, races by. My wife and I recently had a baby boy, and I noticed this last weekend there was a 15-year-old running around in my house. And he's talking about a car. And I'm like, wait a minute, he was a baby, now he's taller than me, and he wants a car. I remember feeding him a few times, but what happened to the last 15 years? It was just a blur. And I got to tell you, if you're not on a trajectory to getting the life that you want, you need to change the trajectory. You know, now's like a really good time to think about that. I mean, it's like a new year, right? Did last year get you where you wanted to be? How about the year before? How about the year before? What's going to happen at the end of this year? You look back and say, this was the year where the trajectory changed, or did we just stay on the same trajectory? And that's where I was on December 15, 2003. So let me tell you just a little bit more about that very first deal, because your first deal, I'm going to tell you, is your most important deal. It's kind of like your first kiss. Everybody remembers their first kiss, right? Life-changing experience. Everybody remembers their first deal. I'll tell you about mine. It took me 6 months to find my first deal. I was actually a slow starter. I got it under contract using a contract I got right here at the REIA. Bought it using OPM, other people's money, private money lender. right here at the REIA loaned me the money, over 1,000 lenders in this network. I got a contractor here at the REIA to fix it, got a realtor here at the REIA to sell it, got a attorney and title company right here at the REIA to close it. And I went to that very first closing, picked up that very first check, $15,384.26. And do you know when they handed me that check, it was like you unscrewed the cap, popped out the old brain, popped in the new brain. Because right up until the moment that they handed me that check, I was a real estate investor based on theory. And I wasn't even sure I believed that theory. I don't know about this, not sure about that, don't know about this other thing. But the second they handed me that check, like a switch flipping, I was no longer a real estate investor based on a theory, I was a real estate investor based on experience. You see, I didn't know anything different except I knew it actually worked. And what I realized right as they handed me that check is if I did this and this and this again, I get another check. Worked the first time. If I did this, this, and this again, I get another check. This, and this again, I get another check. But the really big deal that I realized as they handed me that check at that moment, I realized that I would never, ever, 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 for the rest of my life, ever have to work for somebody else. Ever, 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 never, ever again. And I haven't. I have not worked for another person for over 21 years since they handed me that check. My resume is in some form of DOS. Even the highest tech IT guy in the room couldn't get off of the computer if they tried to, right? I mean, if you're wondering what's DOS, ask somebody with gray hair next to you, right? They'll tell you. Yeah. So I told you I was going to tell you what I did right. I'm also going to tell you what I did wrong. That's what I did right. But I also made one big mistake, and it's a very common mistake. I spent all that time looking for the deal. I finally found the deal. As soon as I found the deal, I kind of put my marketing on hold. I picked up some hammers. I managed some contractors, started working on that deal. I finished that deal. I got that check only to wake up the next day and realize I had absolutely nothing to do. Well, actually, except start the whole business all over again. And this gets me to my very first takeaway. And this is maybe the biggest one of the day. And here it is. The business of being a real estate investor is the business of finding deals. This whole thing is about finding deals. Why? Because you make the money on the buy. What does that mean? As soon as you find a property, as soon as you get a property under contract, whatever money was going to be made or not made, done. It's done. Right at that moment, it's done. Yeah, you get the money at the end on the sell, but you make the money on the buy. And once you realize that, you should realize that you always have to spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for the deal. Because the next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. Remember that. The next deal is always more important. You see, the rookies screw this up. The rookies finally get enough marketing going to finally find a deal. They make some money, great, but while they're working on the deal, they're not looking for the next deal. So they get the check, and they don't have another deal, so they restart the marketing. They finally get it going. They finally get it going enough to find another deal. They do a deal. They make some money. Great. But while they're working on the deal, they're not looking for the next deal. And their income goes up and down, right, with big gaps in between. You need your income to go up, 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 up. And the only way to do that is you always spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for the next deal, because the next deal is always more important than the deal you have now, right? And hint, the deals you're looking for are not in the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. It's the retail market for real estate. It's where realtors sell real estate. It's where all the people in the world compete with each other to see who will pay the most. And I hate to say it, but when you're competing against all the people in the world, some of those people are stupid. And you don't want to compete against stupid. Well, you don't want to win competing against stupid. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I love the MLS. I adore the MLS. Why do I love and adore the MLS? Because after I buy off-market wholesale real estate, where do I then want to go to resell it? Where do you think? On the MLS. Because it's been proven that any property posted for sale, the MLS will sell for the most it could possibly be sold for. But that's never where you're going to find heavily discounted wholesale real estate. The very best deal in the entire MLS would rarely be a deal I'd ever take a second look at. So finding deals, this whole shoot match, this is the rookie mistake. right? Deal, reset the marketing. Deal, reset the marketing. No, you need your income to go up, 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 up. And that means you always spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for the next deal. You never stop looking for the next deal because the next deal is more important than the deal you have now. Okay, so finding deals. Once I realized this whole shooting match is about finding deals, then I started to systematize the process of finding deals. And over time, I developed 65 different methods to find deals. Actually, it's not really accurate to say I developed 65 methods. What would be more accurate is to say I found 65 things that work, and I started to do those things. Oops, my slide got a little messed up here. So I need to teach you all a really important lesson. Maybe the most important lesson I'm going to teach you today. But for me to teach you this next lesson, first I need to unteach you all something. So let me take a moment to unteach you all something. When you guys were in elementary school, right, if you looked over the paper next to you and you copied down the answers, that was called what? Cheating. And you're all told that cheating is what? Wrong, bad, not right, you know, don't do that. Yeah, okay. We're not a bunch of little kids. We're not in elementary school anymore. Going forward, I need you all to unlearn that. Because going forward, let me tell you something. Cheating is actually the shortcut. What am I saying up here? What I'm trying to say is this. There's nothing you are trying to do. There's absolutely nothing that you are trying to figure out that I and other people haven't already done and figured out. Everything. And I mean everything. And I mean absolutely everything about this business here in Texas has been completely figured out. We know what's in the soil. We know the zoning. We know the guys that write the zoning. We know the appreciation rate by street address for all the streets across all the cities across the whole state of Texas. We know the exact letters to send to the exact marketing list. We know the exact words to say. We know the exact offers to make. We know exactly what objections we're going to get. We know exactly how to overcome each of the objections. We even know on average how many contracts we're going to get signed for every 20,000 letters we send out. Everything, and I mean everything, and I mean absolutely everything about this business is completely understood. So once I realized everything I was trying to do and everything I was trying to figure out, other people had done and figured out, I stopped trying to figure everything out and I just started to, here's this word, copy, right? Copy the top 65 tested and proven ways to actually do this. Find off-market wholesale properties. Now, some of these methods or campaigns take time. Some of these methods or campaigns take money. When you get started, you're probably going to have more time and less money. Once you get going, you're going to have more money and less time. I will be honest with you, I don't spend any time anymore on marketing. I outsource 100%. But when you're getting started, you're probably going to insource more. So what are some of these different marketing methods? Well, let me teach you a whole bunch. The first set of strategies is to use marketing lists. You can get lists of motivated sellers and buy properties directly from them offline, off market. What are some of the popular, and what do you do with these lists? You can send them letters, you can send them postcards, you can call them on the phone, you can text them, you can send them emails, you can knock on their door, right? You can do what I do and use an AI-powered chat bot to chat with them while you're sleeping, because I don't have time to call 10,000 people, but I have an AI that does, and schedule appointments with the people that actually want to talk to you and get an offer from you. Or you can do a combination of those things. And we call that a multi-touch campaign. So what are some of the popular marketing lists? Well, you can get a list of people that are late paying their property taxes. Property taxes are about to be due on January 31st. A lot of people don't pay their property taxes. You can get people that are 60, 30, 60, 90, 120 days late paying their mortgage. You get people that have just been scheduled for foreclosure. You can get people that have filed for divorce. Two people who are combining their income to pay a mortgage. Now one of them's gone. Well, the one that's left is probably going to have trouble paying the mortgage by themselves, so they're probably going to be a motivated seller. You can get a list of people who died that have a will. You can get a list of people who died who don't have a will. You can get an AI model list. There's computers models, lists generated by AI looking at big data to predict people that are motivated sellers. You can get a list of people that just got dismissed from bankruptcy. Certainly a lot of motivation there. A non-owner occupied list is a list of people who own a house, they don't live in the house they own. Technically, those are landlords. And a lot of them are what we call accidental landlords. They couldn't sell the house, so they tried to rent it out, or they let an ex-spouse or family member, a friend or neighbor stay in a house, or they inherited a house with a tenant in it, They didn't really plan on being a landlord. They just kind of ended up as a landlord. They don't really want to be a landlord, and very often they eventually become motivated sellers. You can get a list of people who rent to people on public assistance. You get a code enforcement list. You know, the city's already driving around issuing citations for abandoned houses, hoarder houses, deferred maintenance houses. You know, you can get a list of every problem property in the city from the city. You can even get an expired listing list. This is a list of people that hired a realtor, tried for a long time to sell their house, and it didn't sell. So what do we know about these people? We know 100% of these people would like to sell their house, probably now more than ever, but they probably need solutions that realtors don't offer. Well, hello, that's exactly what investors do offer. So if you send letters, postcards, door knocks, text messages, you know, AI chats to these lists of people, some of them call you back. Those are called leads. If you make them an offer that solves a problem, we have an offer for every problem. Some of them say yes, purely a numbers game, and those are called deals. With a website, you can get leads on the internet, bandit signs, 18 by 24-inch Coroplast plastic signs. See them on the side of the road. Why do you see those signs on the side of the road? Because they work. Online ads work. Email, autoresponders, magnetic signs, little sign on the side of your car. You buy the sign once, you get leads for the rest of your life. You don't want to put out postage. You can pay somebody 10 cents a door to put your door flyer or door hanger on every door in a neighborhood. Here's one that's pretty much free, driving for dollars. Sometimes I'm just driving around and I see a tarp on a roof. They might as well be waving a big red flag. Desperate motivated seller, please buy my house. I mean, think about this. Somebody's most valuable asset, a house, has a serious problem, right? A leak. And their solution was to go buy a $5 tarp at Home Depot. How come they didn't replace the roof? Why do you think? No money. Same guy's not fixing the roof, not paying his insurance, not paying his taxes, probably not paying his mortgage. Sooner or later, an investor is going to pick up that deal. What are the other ways to find off-market deals? Oh, wait. We interrupt this program for a special announcement. Actually, yeah, we are going to make a special announcement. We're the Texas REIAs, and the Texas REIAs provides resources for Texas real estate investors. What kind of resources? Education. We have 257 vendors. We have 1,000 private money lenders. We have dozens and dozens of commercial investors, private equity investment opportunities, everything you can imagine, from money to deals to resources to tools to support to whatever, are provided by the REIAs. If you have the slightest interest in real estate, the very first thing to do is to go join your local real estate investor association. This is the biggest by far in Texas. And one of the things we do is we provide training, because we really want you guys to be educated and contributing members of this community, right? Participatory. This is world-class training. We're Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas using strategies that work here. And here's the really great news. Not only is it world-class training, but it is free training, okay? Because you can pay $1,000 to go to a workshop from some out-of-state guru who's going to talk about how it works in Utah, or you can come to your local REIA and you can learn how it works here with much more thorough, detailed training, as well as a network of people and resources to do it with, and that's what we're all about. So we've got some workshops coming up to kick off the beginning of the year. And this is the Texas Real Estate Investing Workshop, sponsored by the Texas REIAs and flipping.com. Practical, actionable, detailed, step-by-step training. We go through all 12 strategies. You need to know all the strategies because we use them all, and there's 12 different strategies that work here in Texas. All 65 marketing methods. I just gave you a preview of some of them. The sales scripts. What are the sales scripts? The sales scripts are the exact words to say to get somebody to accept your offer on their property, your solution to their problem. So I'll give you an example. Recently, a woman here in Texas, I met this woman here in Texas, and I said some magic words to her. Now, you've probably heard about Jack and the magic beanstalk, right? So he had magic beans. Well, we have magic words, okay? And by saying these magic words to this woman here in Texas, I just uttered these magic words, she gave me her house. A beautiful house, by the way. Nothing wrong with the house. House is actually in perfect condition. Didn't have to give her any money in the world at all. I gave her no money. She just handed me the keys, gave me the deed, gave me the house, said, thank you for taking this house because of these magic words. Okay, who's feeling a little skeptical right now? Raise your hand if you're feeling a little skeptical right now. Okay, who's not feeling skeptical right now? Okay, you only have two options, right? You're either skeptical or you're not skeptical. So we're going to try this again. I'm going to start picking people out of the audience. Who's a little skeptical right now? Raise your hand if you're skeptical right now. Okay, who's not skeptical? Really? You believe that? You believe me? You just said you're not skeptical. You believe me? You believe that I can just say magic words and somebody just gives me their house. You actually believe that?
Sounds like a problem.
Okay, yeah, but that's interesting. So I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I thought I was going to have you all skeptical. I said something pretty crazy, ridiculous. I just claimed to have magic words, just like Jack and the Magic Beanstalk, but I have magic words, and by saying these words, I got somebody to just give me the house. So a lot of you are very skeptical. That's okay. I want you to be skeptical. I'm purposely baiting you to make you skeptical. Okay, so please remain skeptical. Because the more skeptical you are right now, the more impressed you're going to be in a couple of minutes when I actually demonstrate what I actually said and how it actually works. Okay, but those are the magic closes. Learn how to partner. Great way to get started. Partner with experts. And people always say, that doesn't make sense. Why would a multimillionaire real estate investor want to partner with a rookie? Let me give you all a piece of advice. If you ever want to do business with somebody operating a higher business stature than you, how do you do that? And the answer is, you're going to have to help them before they're going to help you. That's how life works. You have to give before you get. So what could you possibly do to get a multimillionaire real estate investor to want to partner with you? Bring them a money-making deal, because that's what they want, right? We have a huge network of people that you can work with, but you have to bring value to do that. Learn how to access funding. We have 1,000 private money lenders. Experiential learning at its very, very best. I teach this workshop myself. I love doing this. I've taught over 100,000 people to do it. We're doing it live and in person right here. We're also going to do simulcast if you want to attend online. I highly recommend you do live. We will have tables, so we're not going to be packed in like sardines when we do this. But it's a 3-day workshop, and the reason I mention it is because it's coming up in just a couple of weeks, and you're welcome to join us even for free. So we also have a commercial workshop. We'll talk about that one a little bit later as well. So the workshop is a 3-city tour: Dallas, Houston, Austin, on the dates you see here. And we'll give you a little form if you'd like to come and join us. Great way to kick off the year, because you're going to get world-class free training. You're going to learn everything you need to know to actually go out and do this right here in Texas as part of this huge network. And like I said, we'll hand out a little form a little bit. For you guys online, we'll post a link online, and you can register online. But let's get back to the market. So other ways to find deals. Letters of intent. What is a letter of intent? A letter of intent is actually an offer. Okay, so the question is then, who should you send an offer to? And the answer is everybody. So I'm going to give you all your first homework assignment for the year. Okay, tomorrow I want each of you to send 300 people an offer on their house. I'm not kidding. You see, here's how investors think. Ready, fire, aim. You make the offer, and then you negotiate. You make the offer, and then you do your due diligence. You make the offer, and then you think about it. You make the offer, and then you look for the money. You make the offer, and then you negotiate. You should make everybody an offer. Why not? Do you know here in Texas, every time you simply make somebody an offer, you know you get 4 different options? You might want to write them down. Option number 1, you can buy a house because they might say yes. If you make 300 people an offer in their home, you're taking 300 shots on goal. If you take enough shots on goal, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Somebody shout it out. Something's going in, even if you suck. And with practice, what's going to happen? With practice, more of them go in, because with practice, you don't suck, right? So option number 1, you can buy a house. Option number 2, you can terminate the contract after you make it. Do you know the Texas state promulgated contract gives the buyer and only the buyer the unilateral right to just rip it up, terminate, no harm, no foul, no risk, no penalty, no cost, right? After you make the offer. Option number 3, You can renegotiate the offer. Instead of terminate, you can renegotiate the offer after you make the offer. Do you know it's much, much easier to renegotiate than it is to negotiate? Option number 4, you can actually sell the contract itself to somebody else that has money. Notice only one of those 4 options even required you to have any money to make an offer. The people that make the most money in the shortest amount of time understand the concept I just told you. You just make offers. Doesn't matter if the offer is good, bad, right, wrong, good deal, bad. It doesn't. Just make a lot of offers. Throw a lot of spaghetti on the wall, right? If anything sticks, great. If it doesn't, oh well, right? If it works, you make a lot of money. If it doesn't work, you lose nothing. How often should you do that? It's like you can buy lottery tickets. All the lottery tickets you want, they're free, right? Most of them don't pay off, but some of them do, right? So make a lot of offers. That's the point. Business cards, FSBO, for sale by owner. Why would somebody try to sell their own house? Maybe they're lazy, maybe they're crazy, maybe they need solutions realtors don't offer. Well, that's exactly what investors do offer. So why so many different marketing methods? Well, let me ask you a question. Would you rather fish with a hook or would you rather fish with a net? And the answer is you need to fish with a net. And the reason is because this business is a numbers game. And now I'm going to teach you the numbers. I'm going to teach you something right now that it took me 2 years of hard work to figure out. So I'm going to shave 2 years of your learning curve right now. By 2005, I've been a real estate investor for 2 years. And I calculated in my first 2 years, I had generated about 400 leads. What does that mean? I looked at a house every couple of days for the first couple of years. And then I did the math. And here's what I figured out. As a rookie, on average, for every $100 I spent on paid marketing, things like direct mail, I got 1 qualified motivated seller lead. As a rookie, on average, for every 3 hours I spent on personal marketing, free marketing, things like driving for dollars, I got 1 qualified motivated seller lead. Then I discovered that as a rookie, 20 years ago, as a rookie, for every 20 leads I got, I made at least $20,000 net profit on a deal. So let me run the math for you. That means as a rookie, every time I drove around for 60 hours, I made at least $20,000. Means as a rookie, every time I sent out $2,000 in direct mail, I got at least 1 deal that made me at least $20,000. So spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $4,000, make 40. Spend $8,000, make 80. Spend $16,000, make 160. Spend $32,000. You don't have to spend it all at once, by the way. Make $320,000 net profit. Are you starting to like the numbers? It took me 2 years to figure that out. But after 2 years in the trenches, what I realized is, holy cow, this whole business is just a numbers game, and now I know the numbers. And I started to think about this business in a completely different way after I understood this. You see, I now see this whole business like the whole thing is just a little black box. My whole business is just a little black box, and I call that little black box a marketing machine. And the way that little black box works is every time I stick $100 worth of marketing in one end, eventually $1,000 worth of profit pops out the other end. Now, if you had a little black box, every time you shoved a $100 bill in one end, a $1,000 bill popped out the other end, how many dollars would you stick in the box? Yeah, all of them. And I started spending money on marketing like a drunken sailor. After I figured that out, I started spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing, and then I started spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And then I hired 2 full-time, 6-figure guys that work for me for this day, spending 100% of their time spending my money on marketing. One of them just spends all the money on ads, the other one does the analytics, figure out what works, what doesn't work, double downs on the one that works. And today, all these years later, some months I spend as much as $100,000 a month on marketing. Because once you realize it's a numbers game, once you know the numbers, you dial it in and then you dial it up. Sometime later, I actually wrote a book on investing in real estate. I don't actually offer a book anymore. I used to. I don't do it anymore. I don't find books very helpful for real estate, to be honest with you. And the reason is, here's the thing. Real estate's not that complicated. Here's what I figured out. I went to engineering school. That was complicated. I did calculus, calculus 2, calculus 3. By the time I took calculus 3, I had to remember calculus 1 and 2. It was really complicated. I've never had to solve a differential equation to flip a house. It's not that complicated. But unlike engineering and calculus, it's a mile deep. The thing about real estate, it's a mile wide. There's a million details. It's not complicated, there's just a million details. Learning real estate is not learning a skill, it's learning a language. But you can't learn a language from reading a book. Complete waste of time. Go read 10 books on how to speak Spanish, you'll learn how to count to 10. Maybe if you're lucky. That's about how far I got. There's only one way to learn a language. You have to immerse yourself. You want to learn Spanish? Go to Spain. You want to eat or go to the bathroom? You're going to learn some Spanish. And it was not until my wife and I joined the local Real Estate Investor Association and actually started hanging out with real estate investors so we could hear things 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 times. It's not complicated. Nothing's complicated. There's just a million little details. And not until we kind of immersed ourselves enough to kind of drown in the details that we started picking up enough of it to be able to do this stuff ourselves. So that's how I became a real estate investor. So we're going to get into the last part of the presentation. We're going to talk about the strategies, the mechanics of how these deals work. Probably the more interesting part of the presentation. But I do want to say one other thing before I get into that. You know, I said at the beginning of this whole thing, I'm here to make you educated and contributing members of this community. We really want you to be educated and contributing and participatory because we do these meetings every month all over Texas. And we always have a lot of new people come to the meetings. And, you know, we call the new people tourists. Nothing wrong with that. Like, honey, let's go check out the REIA, right? Like, that's nothing wrong with that. But we figured out a long time ago, nobody actually makes any money being a tourist, right? We need people to be active, buying, selling, investing, partnering, right? That's where everybody makes money. But I also figured out a long time ago that unfortunately, I can't transform somebody into a real estate investor in 45 minutes. If I could figure out how to sprinkle pixie dust on everybody's head and turn them into real estate investors in 45 minutes, yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know how to do that, but I can and I have turned people into real estate investors over a period of 24 hours. Or maybe it would be more accurate to say 24 hours spread out over 3 days, giving us the time to get through all the nitty-gritty details of how this works. So this is why the Texas REIAs and Flipping.coms sponsors the Flipping Real Estate Investing Workshop. We are Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas using strategies that work here. Practical, actionable, detailed, step-by-step training, the real deal. We get through all 12 strategies. You need to know them all 65 marketing methods, the closes, scripts, how to partner with local experts, how to access money. Thousands of the most successful investors in Texas, going back 20 years, learned it here. Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas. And we've got the workshops coming up, and they're coming up fast, live and in person, or you can attend also online or even go back and forth. Some of the content we're going to talk about, right? We have heat maps. Nobody else in the world has heat maps. We've literally analyzed all the cities in Texas with big data, pulling millions and millions of records off of the internet going back decades. We can zoom in on a street-by-street basis and tell you exactly which streets to buy and hold in and which streets to absolutely not buy and hold on, which streets to fix and flip on, which streets to absolutely not fix and flip on. Nobody has that data. We have that data. How to get off-market deals from outsourcing. I like to outsource all of my marketing. How about how to get paid to offer to remodel houses for free? This is my favorite offer. I will remodel anybody's house for free. I get paid a fortune remodeling people's houses for free. I'm going to show you how you can do that too. How about how to get a 3% mortgage? You know, people are complaining, oh, interest rates are so high right now. Well, there's a new loan product. You might be interested. 3% mortgage. And here's the thing. No money down, no credit check, no documentation, no application required. Anybody can get this loan. Who would like to get this loan? Who would like to get a 3% mortgage to buy a rental property with? Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Sounds ridiculous. Who's a little skeptical right now? Raise your hand if you're a little skeptical right now. Okay, you should be skeptical. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make you wait till the workshop. I'm going to show you that trick in just a minute. But how to get a 3% mortgage on a rental property in today's market. How about how to use AI is what I do. I don't have time to talk to 10,000 people, but I got an AI bot that does. So that's kind of cool. How to use VAs. I have 14 virtual assistants. I have 14 people that work for me in the Philippines. And, you know, they're college graduates. They're really smart, very hardworking. These are friends of mine, and because of the exchange rate, you know, I pay them what is to them a fortune, and to me, I can hire 10 people for the price of one, so it's another great way of scaling up your business. So we're doing this live and in person. We're also doing it online. Choose the dates that work best for you and come join us. It's the exact same workshop. We're doing it 3 times, just in 3 different physical locations, you know, Austin, Dallas, and Houston. So just pick the date that works or the location that works. I recommend you come online, live, better experience than online, but you can come online if you have to. Now, if none of these dates work, if you have a conflict, for example, if your daughter is getting married, here's what I suggest. Okay, cancel the wedding, because the most important thing, it's going to change your life in a good way, is going to be attending this. It'll be a life-changing experience, I promise you that. One other thing, I'm going to give you a little commercial for this. They also say if you want, the workshop is free. We want you to all get free world-class education. If you would like, we would also recommend that you join the Texas REIAs. If you have the slightest interest in real estate, then you can join the REIA. And membership comes with huge benefits. Because when you come to the workshop, you get priority seating at the workshop, so that's cool. You get to come as a VIP, you get VIP lunches and special lunch sessions. You get access to our online group. We meet every minute of every day online. We're meeting right now online. So who would like to have access to 1,000 private money lenders? Who would like 1,000 lenders to loan your money? Okay, who wouldn't like 1,000 lenders? Who would like to have access to 20,000 buyers? Who would like 20,000 buyers? Okay, who would like to have access to 250 different vendors, contractors, resources, everything you need? Okay, you need to be a member of the REIA to get access to all that. We have a Texas Money Resource Guide, a special training program, etc. So if you'd like to join the REIA, please come join the REIA. Joining the REIA is a membership cost of $250, but we have a special deal, drum roll please. If you join today, you can join for $100. So if you'd like to join the REIA, you can join for $100. It is an annual membership. You will not be automatically renewed, although you can renew next year if you want to. You don't get automatically charged again, so don't worry about that. So that is basically the deal. Now, I'm going to get into the strategies in just a moment. There's also a commercial workshop we'll talk about as well. There's also a really cool poster. I'll talk about this later. We've got some of these posters with us. But these are the 272 things you need to know to be a real estate investor, all on a cool poster. This is what happens when engineers become real estate investors. We map it all out. But I'll teach you how this stuff works at the workshop. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hand out a little form for you guys online. We're going to post the form online. So please fill out the form. So can you hand out the form? I'll just take 1 minute to explain how the form works. Pick which workshop you're going to attend. There's one in Dallas, one in Austin, one in Houston. The date that is stamped in the box is the day Friday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's the first of the 3 days. That is the 3-day workshop. It is free to attend the workshop. Right now, we have 257 vendors. Thank you, vendors. The vendors are paying for this meeting. The vendors are paying your tuition at the workshop. If you go to an out-of-state Guru workshop, it'll cost you $1,000, and it will not be sponsored by local vendors. Here it's $1,000, but the vendors are paying the $1,000 for you. So you're going to get a world-class vendor sponsored workshop. So the workshop is free. Let us know if you want to come live and in person, or let us know if you want to come online. So just check live or online. If you come live, you can also go back and forth online if you need to. So I recommend you come live, but that's up to you. If you would like to join the REIA, please join the REIA. This organization does very important things for real estate investors. A couple of years ago, the Texas legislature came this close to making wraparound mortgages illegal in Texas. If it were not for this organization spending tens of thousands of dollars lobbying on your behalf, that would have not been stopped. We protect your rights to be real estate investors in Texas. There's no other organization that does that. So please become a member. And there's huge benefits to being a member. It is $100 if you want to be a member. So check the workshop, free. If you want to join the REIA, please do. It's $100. So it's a total of either free or $100. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves so we can connect you up with other valuable resources that will help you in your investing. Pick the date that works best for you. We'll collect the forms back at the end to get you guys registered. So let's get back into the training. We talked about marketing, right? How to find the deal. Now let's talk about strategy and how to actually do the deal. So people ask me all the time, what's the best strategy? Which strategy should I get started in? And let's answer that question right now, because there's a lot of ways you can do this. Okay, you can do short sales, you can do buy and hold, mortgage assignments, you can do auction options, referrals, you can do wholesaling, contracts for deeds, you can do lease options, you can do house swapping, you can do wraparound mortgages, you can do equity partnering, and of course you can do fix and flip. And you certainly spend a lot of time and money on all this training and education. In fact, my wife and I have actually spent over $100,000 on training, coaching, seminars. Most of it was great. Some of it was not great. It all sounded great. But I don't feel bad about spending over $100,000 on our education, because we've made many millions of dollars from our education. But I do have a little pet peeve at how most people do this and how most people get taught to do this. Because when you look at all of these different strategies, right, what's the best one? Well, here's the good news. They all work. All of these strategies can make you money investing in real estate. That's the good news. What's the bad news? The bad news is that they each only work in unique situations. Each of these strategies is really should be thought of as a solution to a particular problem. But remember what I said earlier, your job one is to find the deal, find the problem. So here's a brand new investor hunting for a deal. He's doing marketing, looking for a deal. And he does some marketing and generates a lead. What is a lead? It's a name and number of somebody that might want to sell real estate. And if this guy had gotten the right training, he would have learned how to help that seller solve that particular problem by doing a strategy called a wrap-around mortgage. But that's not the training he got. This guy just went to a wholesale seminar and learned how to do wholesaling. So that's all he knows how to do, and he's looking for a wholesale deal. Well, he didn't find a wholesale deal. He found a wrap deal, but he doesn't know how to do that. So he can't make money on that lead, and he can't help that seller. So what's he going to do? He's going to do some more marketing and generate another lead. And now if the guy only knew how to do a mortgage assignment, he could solve another problem, get another check, but he doesn't know how to do that because remember, all he knows how to do is wholesaling. He's still looking for a wholesale deal. So he can't make money on that lead. So what's he going to do now? He's going to do some more marketing and generate yet another lead. And now if he only knew how to do an auction option, he could solve a big problem, get himself a big check. But again, he doesn't know how to do that because all he knows how to do is wholesaling. He's still looking for a wholesale deal. Are you starting to see the problem? This is big rookie mistake number 2. And here's the problem. There's 30,000 YouTube videos that teach people how to get started investing in real estate. What most of that education says is you need to get started by learning one strategy and this is the best one. No, this is the best one. No, this is the best one. Well, whatever. You need to pick a strategy, learn the strategy, make money on that strategy. After you learn how to make money on that strategy, later on you can learn some other strategy. Sounds pretty good, feels pretty good, but forgive my language when I say this, that is a completely ass-backwards way to go about this. Saying that you need to get started by learning one strategy, make money on one strategy before you learn the other strategy, that's kind of like saying you need to go to Las Vegas and learn how to bet on one number on the roulette wheel. After you make enough money betting over and over and over again on that one number on the roulette wheel, later on you can learn how some of the other numbers work. Well, that's ridiculous. Yet that's how 95% of real estate investors get started investing in real estate. And is it no surprise that 95% of real estate investors give up before they ever get going? And about 99% of wholesalers. So let's have that talk. Wholesaling. The most common thing I hear from new investors is, I want to get started by wholesaling. Look, there's nothing wrong with wholesaling. Wholesaling is one of the 12 strategies that I use and that I teach. In fact, frankly, it's the easiest one to teach. The problem, however, with wholesaling is I would argue it's the overall hardest one to do that on average makes the least amount of money for the amount of money or work you put into it. So when I hear somebody say, I want to get started by wholesaling, here's how my brain translates that. I want to do the hardest thing there is to do that on average makes the least amount of money. And I know from my experience that about 99 out of 100, maybe not 100 out of 100, but about 99 out of 100 people that go down that path end up giving up before they ever get going. Because if you work really hard to do something that doesn't make you a lot of money, you're going to give up before you ever get going. For example, how many of you have read the book, The Millionaire Wholesaler? That's because it's never been written. nor will it ever be written, because it's the hardest thing to do that makes the least amount of money. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to, though, tell you what the top 5% of investors do. And my advice, play to be in the top 5%, because they make all the money. So what does the top 5% of investors do? Here's what I do, and here's what I'm going to teach you how to do at the workshop. What I do is I bet on all of the numbers on the wheel, and then I spin the wheel a lot. And what does that mean? We use all 12 strategies. Why not learn all 12 ways to solve a problem? Why not learn all 12 ways to fill out a contract? You spend time and money, it's called marketing, to find somebody with a problem to talk to. If there's a way to help them and solve the problem and get paid, you need to help them and solve the problem and get paid. And once you know all 12 strategies, we have a strategy for every problem there is. There is no exception. Motivated sellers, totally non-motivated sellers, people that own the houses free and clear, people that are hopelessly underwater where they owe more money than the house is even worth. We can help them, we can solve their problem, their need, and get ourselves paid. Sometimes we get singles, sometimes we get doubles, sometimes we get home runs, and then what do you want to do next? Spin the wheel a lot. And what does that mean? Look at a lot of deals. Take a lot of shots on goal. That's what the top 5% of investors do. So we got to learn some strategies. Let's teach you a couple strategies. Oh, actually, first let me tell you a quick story. This was my first big deal. After I was a real estate investor, for just over 2 years, I flipped this house. Actually made $291,000 flipping this house, pretty good profit. But the more interesting part of the story is I was actually the 8th investor at bat. So what does that mean? 7 other real estate investors looked at this deal before me and passed on the deal. Now, how's that even possible? 7 investors could pass on a deal, an opportunity to make almost $300,000 on a deal. How's that even possible? I'm going to tell you it's not just possible, it's actually typical. Let me tell you the rest of the story. First investor walks into this house and said, I'd love to buy your house, but you're underwater. You owe more money than the house is worth. You can't even afford to sell me your house. Second investor walks into this house, says, I'd love to buy your house, but you're in bankruptcy. I can't buy a house from somebody in bankruptcy. Third investor walks into this house and says, well, I can help you avoid a foreclosure by doing something called a short sale, but I can't do that while you're in bankruptcy. Plus you have a mid-construction project. I don't do mid-construction project. I walked into this house and I said, my, oh my, oh my, you have a lot of big problems here, don't you? Big problem means what? Big opportunity. You know, it took 3 different strategies to solve this guy's problem. I solved the problem. I got the check. My competition was a bunch of one-trick ponies. Most of my competitors are a bunch of one-trick ponies. 30,000 YouTube videos teach people how to be one-trick ponies. One-trick ponies are annoying, they get in the way at times, but they don't last long. Guys, if you think you're going to find pretty houses at big discounts just sitting out there waiting, hanging off of trees, yeah, you're smoking crack, okay? This is what opportunity looks like. A big bundle of problems with a nice pretty bow around it. I want a house where half the house burned down. I want a house that had a meth lab that exploded in the garage. I want a house that flooded. I want a house with mold. I want a house where someone was murdered in the living room. Oh, yeah. You can make a killing on a murder house. I own one. How do you make a killing on a murder house? Let me make a point. Murder's not common, but stigma's common. So how do you make money on a stigma house? Let me ask you guys a question. What do you think it cost to buy a murder house? Anybody want to guess? Not much, 20 cents on the dollar. And you know what everybody says when they look at that house? They point at that house, that's a murder house. And a year later, they're going by that house, they point at that house, and man, something bad happened at that house. A couple of years later, they're going by that house, they kind of look around, and they're like, somewhere around here something happened. About 5 years later, they go by that house, and what do they say? Nice house. How much? Stigmas go away. Somebody gets shot in a bar, it's a crime scene. A couple of years later, it's a tourist attraction, okay? I bought a house for $180,000. What did I do with it? It was a murder house. I rented it out, cheap for a guy that didn't mind living in a murder house. 5 years later, it's worth $480,000. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I just bought it because nobody else would, and I did nothing but wait, right, until the stigma went away. The point, though, is that problems are opportunities. Big problems are big opportunities. So you have to think a little differently. I'll give you another example. One of my students recently bought one of those $150,000 Teslas, and he paid cash for it. And he calls this car his air car, H-E-I-R, air car. Yeah. Somebody died without a will. But they did have 42 heirs. And everybody said, no way, man. There's no way you're going to get 42 people to agree on something, big problem. Well, he rolled up his sleeves and it took a little effort, but eventually got 42 people to agree that a little bit of something is a whole lot better than a whole lot of nothing. Now he's driving around a $150,000 air car. Problems are opportunities. So we find people that need help solving their problems, and we use the strategies to solve the problems. So let me teach you a couple strategies. The first strategy I'm going to teach you is wholesaling. Easiest one to teach, I'll teach you right now. How do you work? How does this work? You simply find a property, get it under contract. How much money does it cost to get a property under contract? Nothing. Can we all afford that? I think so. And then after we get a property under contract, instead of buying the property, we're going to sell our equitable interest. We're going to sell the contract itself to another investor for a fee. Okay, how much is the fee? Well, it depends on the contract. $500 to $5,000 on a small deal, $10,000 to $25,000 on an average deal, $25,000 or more on a big deal. And this, my friends, is a no money and no risk strategy. I've discovered it's really hard to lose money when you're not actually spending or investing any money. 9 of the strategies, you're not spending or investing any money. So let me give you an example. This is Kimberly. She came to the workshop, and then she went out and did her first deal. She told me about this deal after she did it. Her mom was visiting her from out of town. So she's in the car with her mom, and her mom's like, Kim, where are we going? Oh, well, Mom, we're going to get a house under contract. What? Kim, are you crazy? You just graduated from college. You don't have any money. You don't have any credit. You don't even have a job. What do you mean you're getting a house under contract? Don't worry, Mom, I know what I'm doing. So Kim's mom watched Kim walk into this house and offer the seller $265,000 for the house. And the guy signed the contract. Now, obviously, he's a motivated seller. Obviously, they talked on the phone ahead of time. Kim then took that contract and she posted it out to the network. Do you know that we meet every minute of every day online? You know, over the last decade, thousands and thousands and thousands of times, the members of this network post their deals, offers, contracts, resources, questions back and forth over that online network. So Kim posted this deal out to the network, and guess what? Several other investors in this network wanted to buy that contract, that deal from Kim. And Kim ended up selling her contract to another member of the REIA for $17,000. So Kim just sold the contract to another member of the REIA for $17,000. So now Kim's a believer. Well, actually, Kim was a believer. Now Kim's mom is a believer. Now, what would Kim have done with that contract had nobody wanted to buy the contract? What would she done with the contract? Ripped it up, yeah, terminate. No harm, no foul, no risk, no penalty. So who bought the contract? Another member of the REIA by the name of Tatiana. Let me tell you about Tatiana. A friend of mine, Tatiana. Tatiana paid Kim $17,000 for the contract. It then became Tatiana's contract. Okay, Tatiana, right, crossed Kim's name off, right, her name in, or her company's name in. Tatiana then bought the property for $265,000 cash. She had the cash. She kept it for 6 months as a month-to-month rental. After the tenants moved out, she did a renovation, a small addition, and then she sold it after owning it for 12 months, and then when she sold it, she made $100,000 of net profit. That she only had to pay long-term capital gains taxes, no income taxes. Do you think Tatiana was pretty happy that Kim found that deal for her? What do you think? You bet. So let's see what we got here. Do a little audience participation. By a show of hands, just out of curiosity, by a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Okay, let me ask a different question. How much cash do you have to make a cash offer? 0. Well, then, how much cash do you actually have to be a cash buyer? 0. You don't have to have any cash to make a cash offer. You don't have to have any cash to be a cash buyer. You just need to know people with cash. So let me ask you guys another question. Does anybody here know somebody that you could call if you got a smoking hot deal to buy a property here in Texas for a big discount for cash? Does anybody know such a person? For example, who? Yeah, what do you think I'm doing up here? You know, and in fairness, there's hundreds of guys like me out in that network that would be pleased as punch right? If you guys got out there, got some properties under contract, you don't want it for yourself, then pitch it back to the group. That's why we want you. That's why we need you. That's why we'll even train you on how to be educated and contributing members of this community. Starting to see how this works, but I can see I have my work cut out for me. So I'm going to try this again. By a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Oh, fantastic. I love talking to a room full of cash buyers. Right? And then network instantly puts people with cash in connection with people with off-market wholesale deals. Right? Instantly puts people with deals in connection with people with cash. Welcome to the wholesale marketplace. Okay, one more strategy, we'll wrap this presentation up. Buying properties subject to the mortgage. This is buying real estate even with no money and with no credit. I am a nationally recognized expert at teaching this strategy. I'm one of the top nationally recognized experts at teaching this strategy. I've probably taught more people that have actually done this successfully how to do it than maybe anybody, but a lot. What does this mean? How does this work? How does real estate work? When somebody buys real estate, how does that work? They go to a title company and they sign a stack of documents. Now, most of the documents are disclaimers and disclosures, but there's 2 documents that get signed at the closing that actually make the closing happen. The 2 documents that make things happen are the deed and the note. The deed and the note. Notice these are separate documents, a deed and a note. Whoever name goes on the deed, that's who owns the house. That's how you transfer ownership is with a deed. Whoever name goes on the note, that's who's responsible for the mortgage. That's how you assign a debt, a mortgage, with a note. So you got a deed and a note, separate instruments. Now, normally, the same person is on both. Guy buys a house, his name is on the deed, his name is on the note, he owns a house, he's responsible for the mortgage. And he moves into the house, and it's his house. All the rights, privileges, responsibilities, and benefits of home ownership, they all go to him. It's his house. At the end of the month, he gets a statement from the bank. It says, you owe us $2,000 for your mortgage. He writes the bank a check for $2,000. Bank gets a check, they cash the check. Bank's happy, he's happy, everybody's happy. That's how it works. And then the guy goes on to get married. And well, you know, Texas is a community property state. So after the guy gets married, the wife is added to the deed. So now things are kind of interesting. Now there's 2 names on the deed, his and hers. But his name is still the only name on the note. Just because somebody's taken on or off the deed, that does not affect the note. And then time goes on and things don't work out and they get a divorce. And in their situation, right, the wife gets the house in the divorce. So now something kind of interesting has happened. Now her name is the only name left on the deed, but his name is still the only name on the note. So the question is, as long as she keeps sending a check to the bank every month, or he keeps sending a check to the bank every month, or a tenant, or a property manager, a neighbor, investor, friend, or family member, or somebody sends the bank a check every month, the question is, does the bank actually care who wrote the check? What do you think? No. There's some dude sitting at the bank getting paid $9.82 an hour to open envelopes. Oh, we got a check for the right amount. Came on time and it even cleared. We're good. So if you're listening to my story so far, I just told you all a story about a woman, about a spouse, about a person that was able to acquire real estate, even with no money and with no credit. So there's a way to acquire real estate with no money and no credit. All right, here's the really, really good part. You can all do exactly the same thing, and you don't have to get married to do it. Because here's the deal. Anybody can go up to any homeowner that has any loan, any mortgage from any lender on any house at any time, and you can make an offer. The offer any of you can make with any homeowner that has any loan from any lender on any mortgage on any house at any time is this. Here's the offer. I will make the payments on your mortgage for you going forward. Or I will find somebody to make the payments on your mortgage for you going forward. What's the catch? The catch is you have to transfer the deed, which is ownership of the property to me. It's called buying a property subject to the existing mortgage. You do this with any homeowner that has any loan, any mortgage from any lender on any house at any time. And the only person on the planet that has to agree to this transaction is the person whose name is on the deed, not the bank. The bank has no say in this transaction. There are federal laws that regulate this transaction. Anybody can transfer their deed to anybody they want. Anybody can pay somebody else's mortgage if they want to. So if you're listening to me closely, here's what you just heard me say. You can buy any house in Texas from any homeowner in Texas that has any loan from any lender. You can buy that person's house at any time, and you can buy and own that person's house even with no money and even with no credit by simply offering to take over the payment on their mortgage, or even offering to find somebody to take over the payment on their mortgage in exchange for them simply transferring the deed, which is ownership of the property, to you. And once you learn how to buy real estate with no money, with no credit, then how many houses can you buy? All of them. When somebody's in financial distress, they got a house, they got a mortgage. Is the house the problem, or is the mortgage the problem? Owning a house is never a problem. Being responsible for a mortgage, that can be a big problem when you're in financial distress. If you solve the big problem by taking over the payment or finding somebody to take over the payment in exchange for solving the big problem, you ask them to transfer the deed, which is ownership of the property, to you. So it's simply agreeing to pay a seller's mortgage in exchange for the deed. Now, when somebody transfers their deed to you, guess what? You own it. Once they give you the deed, you own it. You can do whatever you want. You can renovate it, retail sell it to somebody else. You can wrap it, you can assign it, you can keep it as rental property, you can keep it as your own homestead if you want. I've helped many of my friends buy their very own homestead with this little or no money, no credit needed strategy. How much money can you make? Well, there's a lot of ways to make a lot of money, right, once you learn how to buy real estate with no money and no credit. Small flip, at least 10, 15,000, usually more, and this is another little or no money, little or no risk strategy. Let me walk you through an example of a deal. This house is one of the $30 million worth of houses that I personally own here in Texas. Now, if I wanted to buy $30 million worth of houses traditionally, I'd have to put down 20% every time I bought a house. In other words, I'd have to be a multi-millionaire just to become a millionaire. Well, I wasn't a millionaire when I was sitting in these chairs 20 years ago learning how to invest in real estate. So how was I able to acquire $30 million worth of houses with little or no money and with little or no credit? Just getting started. Well, I'm going to show you most of the properties I bought as rental properties were bought exactly using this strategy, including this one. So let me tell you about this one. A woman owned this house worth $150,000. She only owed $110,000 on the mortgage. So this house had $40,000 of equity. She had the house rented out for $1,600 a month rent. The mortgage payment, including tax insurance, is $1,100 a month. So this house is generating $500 a month of gross cash flow. Shoulda, coulda, and would have been a perfect rental property except for one major problem. This woman had lost her job. She was continuing to collect the rent because she was living off of the rent, but she had stopped paying the mortgage. 4 days before the first Tuesday of the month, when the bank was going to foreclose on her, I knocked on her door. Hello, can I help you? I am here to help you. But what can you do? There's no time. They're going to foreclose on me. How can you help? What can you do? They're going to foreclose on me. There's no time. What can you do? Here's what I can do. I can stop the foreclosure. I can reinstate your loan. I can catch up your mortgage payments. I can make your mortgage payments for you going forward. I can even repair all your credit. Well, that's amazing. What's the catch? You simply have to hand the deed, which is ownership of the property, to me. And she said, deal. Why in the world did she say deal? Because in 4 days, she's losing the house. That was a done deal. But she wasn't just going to lose the house. In addition to losing the house, she was going to get a bonus to go along with it. What do you call that bonus? We call that bonus a foreclosure. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I told her. You don't want a foreclosure. You may think a foreclosure is the end of it. No, it's not. It's the beginning of a 10-year nightmare that starts with the sheriff and his deputies dragging you and your family and all of your possessions to the curb in front of your friends and neighbors. It's 10 years of dealing with the IRS, potentially garnishing your wages to collect on a 1099 that could be issued against you for up to the full value of the loan. It's 10 years of dealing with the lender, potentially filing a lawsuit against you for up to the full value of the home. It's 10 years of dealing with creditors, calling you, hounding you day and night to collect on the judgment from the lawsuit. It's 10 years of not being able to buy another home, not being able to buy a car, not being able to get a credit card, not being able to open certain bank accounts or even rent certain apartments or even get certain jobs. In other words, it's a bullet to the head. And nobody wants all that. And I stopped all of that from happening to her. And she was thrilled. She even said thank you. And the bank was thrilled because they didn't want the house back. They just wanted their money, so I gave them their money. And the tenants were thrilled. They didn't want to get kicked out of the house. They just wanted to keep renting the house, so I let them keep renting it for me. But mostly I was thrilled because for $4,500, which is what it cost me to reinstate this loan, I now own this beautiful $150,000 house. It came with a loan, came with $40,000 of equity, all mine, came with tenants paying me $1,600 a month rent. After I paid the bank $1,100 mortgage, I put $500 back in my pocket. And if you think that's cool, my wife and I own $30 million worth of these properties. Some of them took small amounts of money like this. Most of them honestly took more money than this. But then some of them took no money at all. So how many of you would like me to walk you step by step by step through how to do this deal? Who would like me to walk you step by step by step through how to do this deal? All right, we're all out of time. Sorry, I'm going to finish. We're about to wrap up. We're going to finish. We got some more commercial training to do, so we're going to get this wrapped up. I will wrap this up, but I do love this strategy. But I bet you don't know why I love this so much. Some of you are like, oh, you're making $500 a month. That's not it. $500 is not going to affect my life or my lifestyle at all. What I love about this is by doing this over and over and over again, over the last 20 years, my wife and I were able to accumulate a portfolio that's now worth $30 million. And once I realized, because the property's doubled and doubled and doubled, and the tenants paid off the mortgages. I owe less than $5 million on a $30 million portfolio because the tenants paid off the mortgages. Thank you very much, tenants. Right? And when I realized the wealth potential, this is the strategy that allows anybody, regardless of money or credit, to become multi-millionaires. I don't care how much money you have, you don't have enough. I don't care how much credit you have, you're not going to qualify for $30 million worth of loans. You're just not. Right? But this allows anybody to scale infinitely. And when I realized the wealth potential of this strategy, I actually made one additional tweak to the strategy. I'll tell you another trick I do. I no longer buy these houses in my name. In fact, I no longer buy these houses in my company's name. Now when I buy these houses, I prefer to buy them in my IRA. How many of you are aware that you could do this transaction with your IRA? Okay, well, for the rest of you, you know you can do this transaction with your IRA. In fact, one of the vendors of the Texas REIAs, Directed Trust IRA, will be at the workshop, so they will set it up for you to do it with your IRA if you want to do this with your IRA. So what happens when my IRA does this transaction? Well, my IRA puts out the $4,500 reinstatement fee. The deed transfers back to the IRA, right? Every month, the property manager deposits $1,600 a month into the IRA. Every month, the IRA pays $1,100 automatically to pay the mortgage to the lender, and $500 rolls back into the IRA. But that's not the good part. What's the good part? Over the next 25 years, this property will double in value, and it'll double again. And even at very conservative appreciation rates, it'll almost double a third time. Something interesting happens to the loan on this property over the next 25 years. What happens to the loan? It gets paid off by the tenants. Thank you very much, tenants. In other words, every time my IRA does this deal, my IRA ultimately ends up owning an asset worth about $1 million that by then I own free and clear. And because my IRA is also a Roth IRA, when I sell that asset at retirement, 100% of the proceeds are tax-free. Did you all just see what I did? I just showed you how to turn a $4,500 IRA into $1 million tax-free, doing one deal, one time. Helping a woman out of a horrible situation, helping tenants stay in a property they want to stay in, helping a bank not take a property back they didn't want back, all that doing it once. The average retired person at the age of 65 has a net worth of $62,000. It's pathetic. If you just did this one deal, one time, you'd be 25 times richer than the average retired person, just doing it once. But I'm going to tell you, I've never seen somebody do this deal once. 95% of the people will never do this deal. 100% of the people that do it once, then what do? And they do it again. And then what do? And then they do it again. And then what do? They do it again. And 20 years later, they're standing at a Marriott talking about all the times they did it. So one last time, how many of you would like me to walk you step by step through how to do this deal? Raise your hand if you want to see step by step how to do this deal. Okay, I'm going to walk you how to find it, how to get it under contract, which contract to use, which title company, which attorney to close it at. And I'm going to walk you step by step through how to go through all the operational steps for doing this deal. So let's go through that. Well, actually, it's going to take me about 3 days. So we're going to have to finish at the workshop. There we go, guys. And that's pretty cool. That was my second favorite strategy. My first favorite strategy is remodeling houses for free. And there's 10 other strategies, 65 marketing methods, sales scripts. I just taught you your first close. That was called the atomic bomb close. Remember I said magic words to a woman, she gave me her house? That was the deal. That was the exact deal. Literally, remember those marketing lists? I got a list of people going to the auction. I called them, a bunch of them. They didn't all answer. One of them did. I read that script to that person. She handed me the house and said, thank you. That's how it works. It's a numbers game. You know, you have to call a bunch. Not all of them say yes, not all of them agree, but you call enough, take enough shots on goal, some do. That's how this business works. Call, script, says thank you, gives you the house, right? Do it a lot, you get some deals, and rinse and repeat. So you're going to learn all the different sales scripts, how to partner with experts, how to access private money. Experiential learning at its very best. So the workshop is in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. Please join the REIA. It's $100 if you have the slightest interest in real estate, join the REIA. The workshop is free. We want you to all get world-class training. We also would love you to join the REIA. It's $100, and you're a VIP. I don't know why you'd go to the workshop and not want to be a VIP, but you should definitely join the REIA as well. Pick the dates that work best for you, Dallas, Houston, and Austin. 3 city tours, exact same workshop, just in 3 different locations on those 3 dates. Fill out the form, and if you don't have a form, we'll give you a form. Join the REIA. The REIA comes with all these wonderful benefits. If you have the slightest interest and $100 to your name, you should join your REIA, because the first thing you do if you want to be a real estate investor is join the REIA. These are the 273 things. We have a big poster. This is what happens when an engineer becomes a real estate investor. These are the 273 things you need to know to be a real estate investor. All the investing strategies, all the marketing campaigns, all the sales and negotiating scripts, all the operations stuff like corporate structures and power teams, all the financing strategies, all the analysis, due diligence. These are the 273 things you need to know to be a real estate investor. We have them all in this cool poster. When you join the REIA, right, you get one of these posters, you hang on your wall, and then you come to the workshop. I'm going to teach you how all this stuff works. And that is that. So if you guys online, click on the link online, fill out the form online. For you guys live, fill out the form live. We'll collect the forms back in a few minutes. A couple of other comments real quick. People say, can I get copies of your presentation? Yes, you can. We post our presentations on our social media. Look for Texas REIAs. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Some logistical details for the workshop itself. The workshop is live. I recommend you come live. We will have tables. We're not going to be crammed in like sardines. We're going to have tables. So you're going to have places to write on. I do the whole workshop. This is not outsourced. You're going to meet me. You got to know me a little bit. You're going to get to know me a lot over 3 days. I start talking at 8:45 a.m. We're going to go 24 hours over 3 days. You're going to learn a lot. Okay? We're going to go late Friday, late Saturday, early Sunday. How late? Kind of depends on you and questions, because I like to take questions. I'm going to guess we're going to go Friday 7:30, Saturday 7:30, Sunday we'll end early. So that's just to set some expectations. We're all live and in person. We're online. We're simulcasting on Zoom. Bring a notebook. Can you hold your notebook up for a minute? Bring a notebook. One of those. Bring one of those. You're going to fill the whole thing with notes over the course of 3 days. So definitely want to bring a notebook. Stay engaged, ask questions. A few other questions real quick. How much experience do I need? Most of the people, 75% are newbies. About 25% are experienced investors that are coming to learn some of the advanced strategies that we teach and to be part of the network. Can I bring a significant other? Drag them by force if necessary. I'm going to tell you what happens if you don't bring your significant other. Right? What's going to happen is I'm going to teach you all these cool things. And you're going to go home and you're going to say, honey, guess what? We're buying a house. And what is honey going to say if honey was not at the workshop? Are you crazy? Right? Trust me, I will make it fun. I can't tell you how many people have come to my workshop and they weren't even interested in real estate. And they actually became interested, and then it was life-changing for them. So bring them, or at least they're going to support you. Yes, it's 2 for 1. When you join the REIA, you only have to join once, right? And you get to bring a guest. So 2 for the price of 1, so your guest can come with you. There's no extra cost. Even if you're a member and you want to come as a VIP, there's no cost to that. How do I know this is the real deal? You know what? Don't ask me. I suggest you ask somebody that's done it already. I invite everybody that comes to the workshop to give us feedback, handwritten feedback. Don't trust stuff you see on the internet. You need real feedback. You can't fake handwritten feedback because we have people write on their name and their form and they fill out a form. We scan the forms, we post them on the internet. If you would like to see thousands and thousands of feedback forms, go to that link. You can't fake that. Now, why would I post every single feedback form on the internet for the whole world to see? Go look for yourself, and I'll tell you what you're going to see. 99 out of 100 all say the same thing. Oh my God, this was literally a life-changing event, right? If you don't believe me, go look what thousands of other Texans have said. How do I get my tickets? Fill out the form and turn your form in, and pick your date. We will call you a day or two before or text you a day or two before the workshop to RSVP you. We need to know how many people are coming live and how many people online. If for some reason you have a change of schedule, we can reschedule you at that time. So pick your best date right now. And if you'd like even more help, join the freaking REIA, and that's where you can interact with me and thousands of other Texans investing with Texans in Texas. And with that, we're about to get into our next presentation. We've got some commercial training we're going to go through, but just pick your date and location and fill out the form, and we'll collect the forms back. So I do want to tell you, we're going to do a market update for about 15 minutes, and we're going to get into some commercial training. You're all welcome to stay. Some of you came just for the commercial training. Some of you came just for the residential. Some of you probably didn't know why you got here, and you're here, right? But if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. If you want, go ahead and turn your form in. You'll get your little packet and get registered for the workshop, so you can go turn your form in, and then you can come back and attend the commercial training, which we're going to go through in a minute, or you can just stay in your seat. It's completely up to you. So we're going to have a little movement around, turn in your form in the back, or stay, or do whatever you want. And we're going to get into our next presentation.